All right, this week in phonics and spelling, we're going to be talking about the short O that says ah. And we're going to be talking about the long O with a bossy. We learned about a bossy E. We have learned about the sneaky E. And last week we learned how we could call it the magic E that jumps over to make that O long. This week I have a new name for it. So you can call it bossy, you can call it sneaky, you can call it magic, or another word for it is just a silent E. So silent E gives all its power and is silent to the other vowel and makes that vowel use its long sound. So it will say its name. So here's a video on silent E, okay? Addie, did you need something quickly?
It kind of looks like a face.
It kind of does look like a face. They do make him look like a face.
On the card.
Oh, on the card here?
No, not that one, the purple one. Because if the other one was just, it looks like his mouth was straight with two eyes.
It would look like a face. Okay. All right. Did you need something, Ellie? Or share something? Yes, you may. Okay. Silent E. Is it going? Okay, so another way to remember that bossy, that sneaky E is also a silent E. So that's just another name, or like I said, magic E also is another name for it. Okay? Now, on your desk, while this video is playing, I put on here our worksheet that goes with this. So would you put your name at the top?
I did.
Perfect.
You said it.
Okay, put your name at the top, please. Okay, so at the top in this first box, Mrs. Murphy's going to read it. It says the letter O can stand for the short O sound you hear in not. So if there's only one O, it's going to be short. It's going to say ah. Okay? The long O sound And note can be spelled with an O. And then remember that little line means that there's a consonant there. And then the silent E, okay? So remember that E will jump over that consonant to make that O long. So on this first section, A, we're going to read each word. You are going to circle the words with a short O sound. So if it's a short O, if there's only one O, you're going to circle it. You are going to underline the words with a long O sound. So if it's a long O, we're going to underline. So with your bossy E, we're going to underline those. Okay. So Mrs. Murphy's going to help you do the first two. I'm going to do the first two with you. But then the rest of them, I will read them, but then you will either circle or underline. So I'm seeing one, you understand the short O and long O. So on the first one is box. Is that short or long, Ingrid?
Short.
Short. You are right. It says ah. So if it's short, Mrs. Murphy put the short mark, then I'm going to circle it. Okay, the next one is nose. Who can tell me if this is a short or long O? What do you think, L-E-A? Long. You're right, because it has that silent E. So we're going to underline it. Okay, now I'm going to read the rest, and you are going to do it. Carson, are you paying attention? Okay, number 3 is rope. I want you to circle or underline it. Underline if it's long, circle if it's short. Go ahead. The next one is lock. Circle if it's short, underline if it's long. The next one is hot. Circle if it's short, underline if it's long. The next one is cone. Circle if it's short, underline if it's long. The next one is dog. Circle if it's short, underline if it's long. And the last one is home. Circle if it's short, underline if it's long.
I feel like I know how it is.
Okay, now I will correct those, and I'll see how well you did on your short and long O's. Now, down at the bottom, we are going to review net of ed. Before adding ed or ing to some verbs with short vowels, we need to double the final consonant. Before adding ed or ing to some words with a long vowel ending in e, we need to drop the final e. So we're going to practice this skill. So I have net of ed. Remember him from last week?
Yes.
He
was hilarious.
is the hilarious, funny guy who's dressed as a fairy. And he has ed because he's Ed. And Mrs. Murphy wrote up by his magic wand, he's happening in the past. Okay? Now, here's my king of ink. On the king of ink, I wrote on his crown. What did I write? Carson probably.
No.
Not quite no, because no is N-O-W. Now. So on his crown, I know you guys can't see way back there, but I wrote on his crown, it's happening now. So if we add ing to the word, think of the king of ink. It's happening now. Okay? If we add ed, it already happened. That's net of ed. Okay? Now, we got to work on these two rules. If the word ends in an E, we got to drop E. So look at this first word. Raylan, a number 1. What is that word?
Save.
Save. Uh-oh. What does save end in?
The E.
Raylan, an E. So our rule is, if we're going to add net of ed, we have to drop the E. So everybody cross off the E. And then we're going to add, so that's my kind of my root word. I got to drop the E and add ed. Or last year, some of my second graders said, just add a D. going down. We talked about columns last week in math. This column going down is going to be ED. This is going to be the net of ed column. Maybe I'll put them right here. That works. This column over here is going to be the king of ink. Uh-oh, he didn't stay.
He said I didn't like it up there.
He didn't like it up there. Mrs. Murphy will get some new tape.
There wasn't one.
Okay. Now,
What?
on saved, we added ED. We dropped the E and added ED. Who can figure out what saving would be? How would we spell saving? Elias, what do you think?
S-A-V-I-N-G.
Good job. We have to drop that E again. Okay, so that's our first rule. If a word ends in an E, we have to drop that E before we add our net of ed or our king of ink. Our second rule is if it is short, we have to double the consonant at the end. So on this word trip, guess what we have to do to that P, Ingrid? Nope, don't take the P away. We're going to double the P. So do you remember what double means? Like in math, when we add doubles, it's like 3 plus 3 or 4 plus 4. So if we double the P, it would be like PN, P. So we're going to make it 2 P's. So on trip, in order to make it tripped, we have to spell trip, but we're going to double that P. We're going to put 2 P's before we add the ED. That's just the rule. Because guess what? If you didn't do that, guess what that sneaky E is going to do?
Jump
It's
over.
going to jump over and make the I long, and then it would be trite. So this P, when you double it, it blocks the E. So if you want this to stay short, you have to double that consonant to block it so that E can't jump over 2 consonants.
That's mad.
Yeah.
And I have to do this.
It's like a trick. We're trying to trick the E. Yes, Eli.
My mom's name is Savannah.
Yeah.
For short, it's Sam.
It is. Oh, that's
Hey!
cool. Very cool.
My sister's name's Savannah.
Yeah.
And
Very
my
cool.
mom calls her Sam.
Very cool. Same nickname, huh?
And sometimes she calls her Savannah.
Yeah.
And sometimes Savannah.
Yeah. Okay. Good job, Eli. All right. Who can figure out tricky? How would we spell that? What do you think, Addie?
I would do that
Another V. So again, we have to double that P, or else again that E is gonna jump over. Oh, there's no E on this one. But you know what? It's kind of following the same rule. It's following the same rule. It would make it kind of long and it wouldn't work. Okay?
Swiping.
Yeah, there is no E on that one. But
So, you know, like when you're walking in the hall and someone just throws a book in your
okay. All right. This next word is hug.
My name.
How do you make it hugged? Eli, how do you make it hug? How do you spell that?
H.
Yeah?
G. E-D. Do you have to do that?
That's a very good question. I call that Eli. Eli, you're right. I did call him. But she wasn't right. So you tell me the right way. So it's short. So what's the rule?
E-D.
Oh, can I just add ED? Because then it's going to make it huge, which is not a word, but it's going to make it huge. So I don't want huge, I want hug. So what's the rule, Eli?
2 G's.
2 G's. Good job. So put 2 G's so it blocks that E from jumping over to make it huge. All right. Who thinks they can get huggy? Corla, what do you think? Yeah. And then put ing. This this one looks kind of funny because it has lots of G's, but it's H-U-G-G-I-N-G.
Can I do the last one all by yourself?
Joke.
Let's do it together. The last one is joke. It ends in an E. Ingrid, do you think you can figure out joked?
Put a J, put a O, and put a 2 K's.
Nope. This one ends in an E. So remember the rule, if it ends in an E, we drop the E and add ED or just add a D. Sometimes it's just easier to add an E. But think of King of England, or none of that. All right, on the last one, joking. Brooklyn, how would you do that one?
J-O-K-I-N-G.
Awesome. Joking. Very good. Now, we will continue to practice these rules because these are hard rules.